Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Adrian. I am a regression hypnosis practitioner, and in the previous video we were speaking about past life regression, and in this particular one we are speaking of future life progression, which is also something called future pacing. So what it all really means is that in regression hypnosis itself, if you're not 100% clear, exactly what hypnosis is and those sort of things, I've got some other videos about that, so you can go check those out. If you go to playlists on top, click it and you click hypnosis. So in the previous one, we spoke about past life regression, which is really, so to speak, going back on your timeline of life, be it this life or be it a previous life, um, that you kind of look at what are the experiences you had and what are the contributing factors to a lot of the belief systems and your life being the way that it currently is. Some of your experiences, some of your fears, some of your phobias, some of your belief systems, some of your mannerisms, some of your manifestations, repeated sort of attractions, seeming patterns like this always happens to me, why a lot of those things are taking place. And a lot of times that is sometimes in what we would call our previous lives, or even in our ancestry line, because certain belief systems and patterns and practices go from generation to generation to generation. And the same way that things like physical appearance is it's something that's locked in our DNA, in the programming of our DNA, which determines what our body looks like and functions, and whether you are naturally big and bold, or more slender, or prone to maybe a certain health condition like diabetes, for example. The same way our energy field, so to speak, our pathology has the same thing going on through your life. And so that is where past life regression comes in. So there's a whole video about it. You can go and have a look at that if you want to have more detail about it. So this specific video is about future pacing or future life progression. Okay? Same thing, really, different names. What it means is, in the hypnotic state, when you go to the subconscious mind, so you bypass the much smaller conscious part of the mind, cross the gateway, either by overwhelming the mind, so you speak really, really fast. When you use something, for example, called Ericksonian hypnosis, it's a whole lot of talking in circles, and it doesn't always make so much sense, and it's really, really fast. Or that you can maybe also bore the mind, which is a nicer way of putting it at ease, which is more like a combination of different things, but it's really what is mostly used is something called conversational hypnosis. What I do with you, I tell you a nice little story, and by telling you the story, you go into a nice relaxed state, which is trance. So we cross the gateway between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So it's kind of like distracting the little gatekeeper there for a while, and you go like, oops, I passed it. Okay. So once you take a whole lot of sort of beliefs and about yourself and about life sort of out of the equation, it's like cleaning out the room. Okay. You took a whole lot of if you really want to kind of compare it, like what I always say, it's when you think of past experiences, because everything sort of contributes to where you are right now, and most of our belief systems are formed before the age of 7. Some of them are even formed while you're still inside the womb, and of course some can come from patterning from previous lifetimes. So when you clear those things out, you make a whole lot of space, and then so within the space you can then say, okay, so what are we going to put in here to to create a beautiful life for you, what we call success and abundance and, prosperity, and what's going to make you happy and what's going to make you feel good. And that does go quite hand in hand with NLP, because I'm an NLP practitioner. I also include Reiki and crystal healing in my sessions. Along with, I go into the avenues of sound healing, which is so amazing. I work with the angelic realm. So bringing basically all the modalities, or most of the modalities of, what I studied over the years, kind of bring it all together in one session. And especially by using NLP, because in the conversation that we have before the session, so I'll ask you, so what would you like your life to look like? If you could, and especially in a hypnosis session, so you ask your subconscious mind where all the answers are. So if you could create the life that you want to have, whatever it is, and the universe will sort of take care of all the details, so nobody needs to suffer as a result of your choice. What would that look like? And then in the conscious mind, where there are certain things that we won't think about, so in the hypnotic state, when we're really working with the hard drive, as opposed to, if you want to put it in the computer and analogy, just the screen, which is the conscious part of our life, the physical, what we experience as the manifestation. Go ask it, okay, so let's just say currently employed by a company, and in 2 years' time, I'd like to have my own business, and I'd like to have this study that I want to do, and this is the plan, and I want to get a bank loan, and etc., etc. So that's the plan. So then you go ask the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind will say, okay, perfect, but now let's consider the fact that, in 2 years' time, if you're going to do that, then, you won't really be able to have your weekends off. How important that time is for you. Obviously your wife, your husband, your partner, your parents, your friends, your family, your mother, your whatever, you like to do that with them. You may not need to hang out with them every weekend, but every third or fourth weekend, you guys like to go play basketball or go to the beach. If you put too much information or if you put too much kind of like on your plate, you get overwhelmed. That sort of stuff, Yes, it's fine and well to go take the bond, but let's consider that you still have to pay your house bond, and so you want to take this loan. And so how about we rather put you on a 3-year plan, you do this, and maybe instead of doing this, you can do that. And instead of doing that, you can do that. So instead of maybe taking the loan, if you're kind of cut over here, or saying, yes, over 2 years, but if you do it like this and this and that, and if you consider that, then maybe you can do it in 2 years' time. So in that sense, because the subconscious mind sees and hears and notices and records everything, it is this incredible guide that kind of lets you know what is the best way for you to navigate your life for what it is that you say that you want to have. And so that's very, very helpful, that you don't only kind of get rid of what doesn't work for you, but you also get to implement what really does work for you. And if you're doing something really well, with future pacing, with future life progression, you can kind of fast forward that plan. There might be many sort of mistakes that you might make that you don't need to make. And of course, because with past life regression, and again, you can look at that in the previous video, because you're taking so many things out, removing so many limiting thoughts and beliefs about yourself and about life, because you're taking those away, you creating this beautiful space for yourself to just experience a wonderful life. And so yeah, you just get to see how you can experience a more successful life. And the wonderful thing, also of course the things that you are doing well can get amplified. Sometimes we do things really well and we don't even realize them yet. Because we can sometimes come from a world where we experience ourselves as very limited and stuff like that. And so those things can be kind of like, sped up, and we can just really create a beautiful lives for ourselves. And I think that is the point really behind what myself and many other, hypnosis practitioners that work in a more spiritual sort of way. It is about removing what doesn't serve you in a positive way and replacing that with things that do. So you kind of change your whole outlook on life. And because you change your outlook on life, and your belief systems about your own capability and your own value and your own worth, some people are very surprised sometimes when they find out that they've been saying they want something for a long, long time, but they're not getting it, and they're saying their affirmations and they're making their vision boards and, they're doing all that sort of stuff, but it's not working. And sometimes it just goes a whole lot deeper. And it is really about getting all those things out, It's all fine and well to go around and say, I am happy and I deserve a good life, and, all those type of things. And affirmations are very powerful and they do work. But it is the conscious mind that is continuously giving a certain amount of information to the subconscious mind. Now, the mind itself is geared towards maintaining an ongoing pattern. All right? So if all your little stories and experiences and everything in life that are coming together, if it's saying to you that, you're not that successful, or you don't deserve it, or you're not worth it, or there's something that you didn't quite deal with, that could have happened to you when you were 2 months old, when you were 2 days old. Okay? And you can speak and speak and speak. It'll be like a ping pong game. Conscious versus subconscious, because the conscious mind keeps on giving the affirmation. And yes, it's the affirmations do work. But whereas it might take you 5 years to get there with the information, with a regression hypnosis session, because we go directly to the source, 2, 3, 4 hours down the line, exactly the same sort of result that can take years. All right? So, and I have to tell you, and I sometimes share this with people, and I laugh when I do, because I was the one person who did not believe in all this hypnosis stuff. I said, this is absolute rubbish. Those people are taking your money, they are con artists. But when I got to see firsthand for myself how people's life, and I'm speaking about people really close to me, within my sphere of life. So it's not like I could make it up. I didn't see it on social media. I was there. I could see the patterns going on for years and years and years. And then they weren't exactly doing anything all that different. And now there's a difference. And then I said, okay, well, maybe there got to be something here. Maybe they're not really all that horrible con artists. Yeah, maybe. I got the opportunity to have a session myself, and I was like, no, whatever. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And without actually, I wanted to put it to the test so much, because I can be really stubborn sometimes. I decided that I would conscientiously not do anything else. So I wouldn't meditate, I wouldn't use affirmations, I wouldn't use the vision board, I wouldn't do anything else. So if it was a hypnosis, it had to be the hypnosis and nothing else, and yes, you could reason that because I kind of put that kind of there in my mind, maybe that's why it worked. You can reason that. But I have seen some near miracles in my life, I have seen somebody that came to me a couple of months ago, and the lady just wanted to experience what regression hypnosis was like, because sometimes I put short little clips on Instagram or I go live on Facebook, and I am now a believer, so I speak about it a lot. And so she wanted to just experience what it's like. And she connected with the fairy realm, which was so beautiful. And I learned so much in every single session. And she happens to be like sort of like in a managerial sort of position in her job. And she has to go to, she works for a franchise, so she has to go to these different branches to do sort of like training, when they have new products coming out. And this particular company has new products coming out practically every month. So she has to go to all these different branches, and then she has to go and speak sort of to the superiors within these branches. And she said that she finds it very daunting because most of these people also feel that it's unnecessary. And so she would get this almost sort of like panic attacks before doing it. And so I send her a message, as I sometimes do. I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 months after, like, hey, how are you doing? How's life going? Everything all right? Just kind of following up. And just to me, the most amazing thing happened that, I just wanted to have the experience of, what this is like, because she used to go to another practitioner who's actually a very good friend of mine, and who does very similar stuff to what I do. So also does Reiki and crystal healing and, angelic realm. I don't really think that it works too much with cards because I do tarot and oracle readings as well. And he does kinesiology, which I don't. And so she wanted to know about like numerology and astrology, and I said, well, I'm still kind of studying those fields. But she said, I want to do hypnosis with you because the other person doesn't do hypnosis. So she just wanted to experience it. And sometimes when you don't have a preconceived sort of idea, you get the better results from your session. And she said, it's so amazing. I go out here now, I'm able to look people in the eyes, I'm able to go and do my job, I don't get a sort of stress anymore, and I'm even up for a promotion. So it's amazing how when you go really to the foundation of the belief system or the pattern and you change that. And so a lot of times, people say to me, so Adrian, is this all about mind control? And I tell them, yes, absolutely, but when you think about it, everything that we get faced with on a daily basis, be it advertising, television, radio, billboards, everything, it's advertising. My best friend is a social media boffin, basically, and also does graphic design. And of course, I've learned a tremendous amount of, from her. And sometimes the advice they give you can sound kind of trippy or even silly, but you change something in the smallest way and it changes everything around your mindset. The mind associates with this color, this shape, blah, 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 blah. So advertising's been doing this for many, many years, and they've been programming us. So when you come from the understanding that your mind is constantly open to being programmed, like a sponge, it's constantly open to being programmed. You can just as well conscientiously put information in your subconscious mind that is going to improve your conscious experience of life profoundly. I mean, you can just as well, because you can either go through this world consciously, being aware of the fact that, you're always open to new sort of programming. And when you do that, you become very aware of, what you watch on television, what you listen to, because when you really begin to understand the power we have um, over our own experience of life. And when they speak obviously about things like the law of attraction, for example, when you really get, even in the most simple way, how we all really form our own experience of life, you become so much more conscious. And that is really all that we do in a hypnosis session. Of course, you get a recording of your session, so it's nothing funny that's being hidden from you. You and it's so much information you won't remember it. That some people they're very present. It feels like a daydream. Some people are gone like a light, and some people are somewhere in between. I know back in the day when Dolores Cannon, for example, first started with QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique. She would speak a lot about going to the somnambulistic state, which is about the deepest level of trance that you can, go to. Like, you're gone, you remember nothing. So there's not that conscious mind that comes in and nags and says, maybe this isn't true, maybe this is a lie, maybe you're making it up. But of course, the world unfolds as you go along and it develops. So whilst I do work with a somnambulistic state, I would consult the mind and says, okay, to what level of trance? And it's simple, we really complicate it sometimes, but when you say something in the lines of, okay, your mind knows the level of relaxation that you need to go to for the optimum level of healing here today, so let's just go there. And sometimes you can go to all the way down to somnambulistic, or you can just go to a theta level, because that is more than sufficient as well. Okay. And yeah, there is so it's it just gets me so excited for a person who used to be a complete non-believer. I have seen some beautiful things in my life. I have seen people let go of patterns that doesn't serve them positively, find solutions. And of course, you can do a session online, and you can do it in person. Either way, really. And even I was even not a big fan of online sessions in the beginning. And but I mean, I remember I had a session with one person, for example. The connection was so bad, and still that person made such amazing progress in her life. There's a video actually on my website where somebody actually said to me, I have to send you a little video. That it was so amazing, because I was thinking to myself, oh, it's not going to work, and boom, suddenly I was there, But it's when we stop trying and we just go there that it just happens. And it's the same thing really with future life progression or future pacing. You don't have to try, because when you change the way that you look at yourself and you look at life and your belief systems and your beliefs about your value and your worth, or eradicate the things that were not kind of like in flow with that, your life just changes. It just improves. It just gets better. And yes, there is still some work that you need to do sometimes. It's not like a magic wand that you just do and then suddenly all your problems disappear. But it's typical that even, I mean, I've had people sometimes who said, oh, I didn't actually feel anything. It's like nothing really happened. And then a couple of months later I see them, and they're just all radiant, and they're all light, and they're suddenly doing better. And sometimes I don't actually put the one and one together until they see me. I'm like, oh, so how are you doing? Since the last time we saw you. And then they just go like, ba 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 ba, and they're like, it must have been the hypnosis. I'm like, well, okay. So there's just a little bit about future life progression or future pacing. I have touched in the past life regression video about just a little bit in the, like when you're in the soul plane, sort of like, you know, after ascension, when the soul sort of leaves the body. I'll make some more videos about that in future. I'm very excited to share some information about the moment of creation, all of that really being here and now, about the value of sort of time that we create, why we create time, so all of those things. Okay, I'm just, as some of you may know, for those of you that are subscribed to my channel, if you're not, you're more than welcome to do so. Or from those of you that check in from time to time for my weekly tarot readings. I do a reading every week for all the different zodiac signs. And of course, I've got private clients in between. So as much as I can, I'm more than happy to share. So if you've got any questions, if you're not clear about something that I might have, you know, touched on, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I read all my comments. I find some of them really make me smile, and they really touch my heart, and I'm so grateful for that. So from my heart to yours, namaste. See you next time.